Welcome to another episode of OG 55. Today, I am joined by Mr. Tones TV and Seymour Duck. We are talking the box office, Minions and Monsters, Supergirl, Toy Story. We're going to dip into a little bit of Flywheel and Pokemon. It's a stack show. Tones, Seymour, up next. Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of OG 55. Today, we are talking all about the box office. We got a lot to discuss. Before we do, Mr. Tones is back. How you doing, man?
I am blessed, brother. I've been having fun with content lately, and of course, it didn't take 3-4 months to hop back on OG 55. So I'm feeling good.
Absolutely, absolutely. Where can everybody find you on social media? You've been crushing it lately with House of the Dragon content. You've been having Jay Shear on there.
Absolutely. House of the Dragon, we've been doing nothing but putting out episodes, breakdowns, theories. We just got done doing our full breakdown. Shout out to Jay Shear. We just got done putting out our full breakdown for episode 3 of House of the Dragon. And then last week we did episodes 1 and 2. A lot of fun on TikTok, Tones_TV, Instagram, Tones_TV, and YouTube, Tones_TV. We do a lot of lives over on TikTok. We bring people up. Love to talk about the show, and we do other stuff other than House of the Dragon. But as of right now, because it is one of my favorite shows, we've been covering that a lot more. But yeah, go to Tones_TV on all platforms, and we'll see you there.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody support Tones. I will be linking his information in the description down below. Mr. Seymour Duck, welcome back.
Hello, and thank you for having me back. You know me, I'm excited to talk shop, especially when it comes to the numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. Where can everybody find Mr. Seymour on the social media?
Yeah, you can find me on X at Mr. Seymour Duck, and also at the Duck Pond on Orange Grove 55.
There he is, Mr.
And
Seymour.
if you can, roll the clip.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. I totally forgot. Here we go. And we added a special Tones.
Okay.
Yeah, we got a little Tones in there. Here we go.
Welcome to another box office update. Let's see which pictures are topping the charts.
There we go. Seymour, fantastic work. And I love that you added the dragon in there. That's pretty sick, dude. I love it. All right, so here we go. Let's rock and roll, gentlemen. We got a lot to discuss today. This is courtesy of the numbers.com. Minions coming in 37 million for the 37 million total gross with 62 million. Seymour, I will start with you. What are your thoughts on Minions and Monsters coming in number 1?
Actually, it's not doing pretty hot for me, even though it's number 1. It is a box office holiday weekend, and to be near Toy Story 2, I think it was reported to be one of the lowest box office openings for Minions and Monsters for that franchise. For Minions, for that franchise, and I'm surprised because you remember how we talked about how The Mandalorian and Grogu had a big boost in numbers because it was the holiday weekend.
Right.
And now imagine this. If these are the numbers that got boosted because it's a holiday weekend, these are actually pretty weak numbers. Compared to Toy Story 5, where this is like the third box office weekend, and it made 30 million compared.
Yes, that is interesting. Tones, what do you think is going on here? I mean, I'm hearing this Minions is actually probably the best of the Minions franchise, which makes this kind of surprising. But do you feel like, Tones, that this is a Toy Story thing? Maybe World Cup as well, kind of mixed in there, or?
In all honesty, I mean, yeah, it could be Toy Story and the World Cup. Everything's going up, but I think I don't know if it's just me, but 4th of July, people are outside. People are going, dude, fireworks. People are out on vacation for the 3-day weekend. I don't know or necessarily think that this was a good weekend because of this specific holiday. Because 4th of July, you never want to be inside unless you are at home barbecuing, or people went to the lake, People went to the beach. People did all, camping, a whole lot of things this weekend that didn't, that weren't people inside the house or going to the movie theaters. And, but it definitely could be a Toy Story thing. People are hearing how amazing Toy Story 5 was. Obviously, the numbers are speaking for themselves. And Minions, although, I haven't seen Minions in a long time, they've always been a very hot commodity because of the Minions. Like, they're fun to watch. But I would throw it just because of this specific holiday, that it was like a bad mixture of the release, just because, in my opinion, when I think of 4th of July, I think of being outside doing fireworks, and I don't think that this was a good holiday for sure.
Yeah, that's a great point, Tones, where like families want to be outside doing stuff, right? Like I was at Universal, ironically Universal, right? I was at Universal this past weekend, and it was pretty busy, right? Because people like that. People like to be outside and doing stuff, theme park stuff, beach stuff. So maybe the theater wasn't really where it was at. And then the people that were inside were doing the World Cup and all that good stuff. So it was like that perfect storm of everything going on. Seymour, what do you think's happening with this? I mean, it's the weakest opening for any Minion movie. Is it Toy Story? Is it something else?
I think it's a mix of everything, right? And I do want to state one thing, that Minions, even though this is the lowest for the entire franchise, they do collect revenue outside of just the movies. And the budget is low. It is $85 million, but it's one of those franchises where you can make so much money off of theme parks, licensing. Right. You see Minions everywhere, right? Merchandise. So it's not so self-reliant compared to all the other movies that we see in the box office, that it needs to make $1 billion to be a successful franchise.
Yeah.
Because it can capitalize on everything.
Right. Universal has done a really, really good job. They're a huge player. They're number 2 in the theme park war, right? I mean, they're right under Disney. They're doing a lot of great stuff in the theme parks, but they do have a flywheel. Maybe not as crazy as Disney's flywheel, but they do have a flywheel. And like Universal Studios out here in Hollywood, at least, and I'm sure it's the same way in Florida. I mean, the Minions merch moves like crazy. The kiddos love it. So, it's not making the most money in the box office, but with that lower budget and then like the flywheel and all this other stuff with merchandise, I think it's going to be fine.
And you can also chop it up to like, this could just be just a bad weekend. And the next weekend, I mean, we've seen what happened to Obsession. It went from, not a good first week to breaking numbers in the next, weeks after that. So this just could be a bad weekend with everyone going out, and like we can be having a different conversation about this week. So
that's a great point, Tones. I mean, next week or this upcoming weekend, there might be a very small drop off, and then okay, now we're cooking again, right? So that's a possibility. Now,
I do want to state that I do admire the studio that makes Minions, even though I don't watch Minions. I do watch the Mario, the IP from Nintendo, from Illumination, but I do have. I do admire the studio after deep diving into how they make the movies. And, the reason why the budget is $85 million is because they make sure that the quality is top tier once they go to like the CGI work. And I think a lot of studios could learn from that, because unfortunately, and I'm sure Toy Story 5 was part of it too, where they do a lot of the CGI work and then they scrap some of the script stuff and they rewrite it, and then they have to redo it all over again. Where with Minions, no, that's done. By the time we do all the 3D stuff, no, we already have the story set. We're not rewriting it. It's done. It's set and done.
That's interesting that you say that. I actually saw, I forgot where, I think it was on X, I believe. There was a pundit talking about how Illumination is very protective of this franchise. Mm-hmm. And they actually, and I didn't know this, but they actually push back on Universal quite a bit with how they utilize the Minions. I guess Universal wants to do certain things that Illumination's like, no, we're not doing that with this franchise. And even like when you see the Minions in like TV commercials, like for, I don't know, like say Enterprise Rent-A-Car or something, right? Yeah. The creators of the franchise, they are involved in all that stuff too. They don't outsource even like those little commercials to another group, which is crazy to me. Yeah. So I don't know. That was kind of interesting. I mean, I was kind of surprised to hear that. You know, I didn't know they were that protective of this brand, but that's cool to see. That's cool to see. But
No,
85 million is pretty low in terms of budget. I'm sure it'll make its money back. Go ahead, Tones.
no, I was gonna say, if I'm not mistaken, and you guys can correct me in the comments, or you gentlemen can correct me, I might have saw a video on Minions and recently, and they said something, and I'm paraphrasing here, of the story was initially going to be just about I forget his name, the guy in the movie.
Oh, with the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The story was originally just going to be about him, and then they threw the Minions part in like at the very last second, or like someone brought it up. They're like, "Oh, let's throw it in," and then it ended up being like this crazy like storm of everyone loving the Minions for this story. So you guys can correct me or if I'm wrong in the comments, but I thought I saw that and I was like, wow, that's actually crazy to think that the Minions wouldn't even been nothing if it was just, you know, the guy in the movie. I forgot his name.
Yeah, well, you know, it's crazy too. That's interesting because a lot of times the stuff that isn't planned catches the most fire, right? Like even in Star Wars with Han and Leia, I love you. I know, you know, that wasn't planned, but it was like the most iconic scene, you know, so it's kind of crazy.
So
go ahead, Seymour.
So basically, the Minions is the Steve Urkel of Family Matters.
Pretty much,
because that whole like franchise where Steve Urkel was never the idea in the first place. They add him in, and then they had to rewrite the whole series into Steve Urkel, and that was also the downfall of the series as well.
That's wild. That's wild. I used to watch that show. I used to like Family Matters. It's a pretty good show. Whatever happened, by the way? I was talking to Alan from Almighty Coasters about this the other day. But like, what happened to sitcoms? Like old school style sitcoms. They're not really around anymore, right?
Not really. And I want to be I gotta be honest. It's been a while since I've watched a sitcom, but a lot of stuff that passed back in the day, it just wouldn't be the same nowadays. And it would just be some of the storylines were fun to watch, but how many sitcoms can we have where it's like a different storyline? You know, I don't know. I don't watch sitcoms as much, and but I think it would be a lot different because of the storylines that we got back in the day are probably wouldn't pass.
No, I agree with you, Tones, because it's crazy because people get nostalgic about stuff, but it's like once we pass a certain point, it's really hard to kind of go back to that thing again. And like ever go back to like if you ever go back to like an old video game, like if you plug in an old Nintendo and you play those old games, it never feels 100% like it did when you were a kid, and it just feels because technology has improved, and it's really hard to kind of put that genie back in the bottle. Go ahead, Seymour.
Oh, I was just gonna say the last sitcom I watched was It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but I don't think you can make a show like that today.
Yeah,
the content that comes in, there's some. I think there even like 1 or 2 episodes that are banned because they're not allowed on like Hulu and Disney Plus.
There's okay. I'm not gonna. It's kind of a touchy subject as far as like what they did, but if you guys remember the show Boy Meets World, you guys see that show?
Yes.
They did a Girl Meets World or something like that. which would I've never seen it, but which would have been fine. That's not the but the agenda that they pushed in that show, I believe they were talking about religion. I'm not going to go into what exactly they were talking to, but from what people were saying about it is they were pushing an agenda rather than pushing the storyline and putting a good storyline behind this said girl. You know, I think it was the daughter of Topanga and what's his name, but it was pushing an agenda, and I feel like that's what some of these new sitcoms have been doing. That's why they haven't been really. I mean, there's probably some out there that are pretty good, but the ones that people talk about, I'm like, I can't get into this. Like you just feel like there's a different motive behind what is going on. And like I said, the old storylines were just fun to listen to, you know, because now they're just hard, or you know, they wouldn't be on TV today.
Well, I mean, back in the day, man, like the Fox, I think it was Fox Sunday nights with Married with Children and Living Color. I mean, these shows were so funny, dude. And we don't have anything like that nowadays. I mean,
Is The Office considered a sitcom?
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, that for sure wouldn't be on TV nowadays, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? It's crazy. So, but go ahead, Seymour.
Oh, I was just gonna say I actually seen Girl Meets World, and I didn't like it. It's like the Disney-fied version of Boy Meets World, even though Boy Meets World was Touchstone, right, and that was technically Disney. I didn't like it because when Boy Meets World, what I liked about it is that you had like real world issues when you were a kid, and here it's like they were too scared to even talk about kissing, and it's like, no, that's not the point of the show.
Yeah,
It's like you Disney-fied it. It's too safe now.
Did they touch some religion in the show? I didn't watch the show. I was just hearing.
I don't remember that. I don't remember. All I remember was that it was too safe. So it could have been that issue where it's like, yeah, they touched upon it because it was too safe. They didn't even talk about kissing. Where Boy Meets World, they talk about sex, drugs, a lot of these things, people, Sean having like an alcohol problem, but we don't have that. It's too safe. And that's what I liked about Boy Meets World. But now it's like, oh, we can't do that because it's not safe for kids. But it's like, but how do kids learn?
Yeah.
Well, no, exactly. Hilary Duff, what was the name of her show?
Lizzie McGuire.
Yeah, Lizzie McGuire. They were actually going to have her do like a new like a spin-off show, like her being older. And Hillary wanted the show to be more mature because her audience has grown up, obviously, since then. And Disney fought her on it, and they never ended up making it because of that reason, because she wanted a more of adult tone. Disney's like, no. Like, but I agree with Hillary. It's like your audience is not the same age anymore. Like they grew up with you. It makes sense to make it more mature. So, but speaking of Disney, though, go ahead, Seymour.
Oh, I was just gonna say, Bob. One thing I liked about Bob Chapek is that he thought that the Disney audience could expand on the, because it was a little bit too safe, and he wanted to merge Hulu with Disney Plus, and there was a lot more mature content. The one thing I liked about him is that he thought that the Disney audience can withstand that matureness from going from Marvel and stuff. But there was a lot of pushback from the Disney fans coming in saying, why are we watching this on Disney Plus? Why is there a lot of mature content coming in? But it's like, I think Disney as a company is growing, and it needs to grow and evolve with the times. And I think as a company can't stay stuck in that Disney size world that we used to know. It needs to grow into what we see now. And now I go to Disney Plus, I see every content. I see, we just talked about it. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That's not for kids, but there's always there's parental controls on the platform for you to protect your kids. You can add profiles to ensure that kids don't watch those content. But I can watch all that type of show. I can watch American Horror Stories. That's not for kids either. Like a lot of these Disney made shows that are on the 20th century, the FX, I can watch it and I'm loving it.
Well, and that's the issue with a lot of Disney fans. They get into this thing, right, where they want Disney to be this family-friendly company, just the Disney branded stuff and the theme parks. But even Michael Eisner back in the 80s, when he came in and like saved Disney, a lot of that effort to bring Disney back alive, because it was like on the brink of going under when he came in, a lot of that effort was Michael Eisner and Frank Wells understanding that they need some adult content. So what they did was they created Touchstone Pictures, they had Hollywood Pictures, and I think they acquired Miramax. So they had these other brands they can have that adult content. They owned it, but the adult content was being released under these other brands. And that was a smart move. And that paved the way for Disney to be what it is today. And Disney sort of continuing that, or even expanding upon that now with, like you were saying, Seymour, with studios like Fox and like Hulu and stuff. You need to do that. You absolutely need to do that.
And I do want to state that, like, the internet, social media, there's much far worse content you can find on social media on it, and just on the internet in general, than just on Disney Plus. And at least with Disney Plus, you can control the content that's being shown. It's much harder to do it when it's like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, even on X. X doesn't have like any moderators. Everything's all done automatically with AI. And half the time, like even today, Backrooms, the movie, was announced that it's going to be delayed, and then I see a feed full of Backroom full movies leaked in high quality HD on X, and nobody's doing anything about it.
No.
It's the Wild Wild West out there. Go ahead, Tones.
I was gonna say, one thing that the Disney product has is that, like, there's such thing as a Disney adult. Like, that should be utilized with adult content as well. Like, people who go to Disney that are adults, they have their own like clubs on Facebook, or they have, you know, these fan pages where Disney adults post. It's like you have it there for you. People are gonna know, like, this is meant for Disney adult. And even when you log into Netflix, the first thing it asks you is, which one do you want? It says your name, and then, you know, the kids section, or, you know, different profiles you have, but it also has a kids section. So you can, like what Seymour was saying, you can use parental control when it comes to Disney, where you can throw up rated R movies. You could put up even animated movies for adults. Anime is huge right now. I mean, it's always been huge, but imagine if they did animated adult things like Blue Eye Samurai, like this is extensive or a crazy comparison, but Sausage Party was a crazy animated movie.
Oh, bro, that was wild.
Yeah. So, but you can dip into Disney adult things. You just have to use, you know, or do it a certain way where, you know, the kids couldn't get to it, or make it a whole new platform that you can't, you know, that is strictly for adults only.
Yeah, no, well said. Absolutely, absolutely. Because you're right, Tones. There is a huge subset of the fandom that is, you know, Disney adults. They are adults, you know. So lean into that. You know, there's no reason not to.
And I do want to state again that this was Bob Iger's, not Bob Iger, Bob Chapek's idea that first came up with this idea. And the first thing that he did and made sure that he did was, when you sign up for Disney Plus, you have to set up those controls immediately. You can't do anything else. And I think that was smart, because Netflix, I don't think it's the same way when it first started. And now I think it's different. But with Disney, they made sure that you did that. And, you know, a lot of people, you know, he wasn't the best CEO, Bob Chapek, but he did some things that were good. And I think this is the one thing that Bob Iger actually took upon himself and kept it. Because at one point, he said he wanted to spin off Hulu, thought about spinning off ABC as well, but he didn't. He kept that, because he saw the data that was coming through and said, okay, people can actually utilize this type of content. And it does. And it helps with engagement as well, especially when you see in the Nielsen charts, you know, Family Guy, Bob's Burger, right? Bluey, you know, those are all different type of shows for a different audience, but they're on the top 10 list of Nielsen. People watch. And I watch The Simpsons all the time. I watch Family Guy all the time. Sometimes when I'm cleaning, I put Family Guy in the background and I just clean. And it's like, yeah, let me have that access to it.
Yeah, no, Family Guy is a wild show. Family Guy is one of those shows I can binge watch that show all day long and have no problem. I think it's just freaking hilarious. I love it. But Toy Story 5 is doing like crazy. I mean, this thing is the film will officially pass $1 billion. Right now it's 750 million. Tones, I mean, Toy Story, right? Not too much of a shock. And I heard it's a great movie. I haven't seen it yet. It's on my list. But
Your list.
My list is, I have a very long list. But how I mean, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, it's kind of like not too shocking.
No, not shocking at all. It's Toy Story. Toy Story brand is always going to be one of the biggest. You know, it's one of my first. It's my favorite animated movie of all time. And I heard the storyline is really good. You know, even adults that went when, you know, they were crying in the movie. And obviously we're getting older as kids, or we're getting older as kids. We're getting older as adults, and we were kids when we first saw these movies. And, you know, the fact that it's still going this, you know, making these kind of numbers is just, you can do nothing but applaud Disney and Pixar for doing this and making it a story. I mean, obviously the Toy Story movies weren't perfect, every single movie that came out, but the fact that they can do this still in 2026. When did the first one come out? In like
95.
Like, that's insane. I mean, so you can only give it up to them. And $1 billion. How much was the budget for this movie? Do you know?
Seymour, what was the budget on Toy Story? I think we talked about that last time. It was like, was it 200?
I think 200 estimated, so it could be roughly lower or higher, 250 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So I mean,
But again, this is a franchise where you're not just reliant on the movie. I'm sure they're selling a lot of toys. And I think they announced like Toy Story 1, 2, 3, the video games all remastered and just released it as well. And yeah, merchandise is gonna sell like crazy.
yeah. And you guys gotta, or people listening also have to realize Toy Story is a rare franchise for this reason. As kids, we wanted the Woody, we wanted the Buzz action figures, we wanted all these action figures. Till this day, kids are still asking for these action figures to walk, to walk around with them. And you even see people use them for content when they put them on their car, and it looks like they're actually, trying to get on, trying to flee. So it's one of those franchises where it's to me, it's never going to die unless they stop making movies for it.
oh, I completely agree, Tones, and you're right. And Disney's flywheel, I think, is a big reason why like franchises like Toy Story have remained relevant. I mean, you see even like little kids during Halloween, they're still dressing up like Snow White and Cinderella. I mean, Snow White came out almost 100 years ago in the 30s. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is wild to me how Disney maintains relevancy to these franchises for so long. And Toy Story is a perfect example of that. Also, I think Toy Story taps into something kind of like that's kind of built in all of us, kind of hardwired in, where we've all as kids wondered like what happens like when I leave the room, do my toys come alive? That's like a hardwired thing that like everyone has that curiosity factor. And so it taps into that. And then this new movie with the lily pad, the little iPad thing, right? Every parent right now, any parent right now in this day and age knows what the iPad culture is with the kiddos. So the parents are going to relate to this. The kids are going to love it. Just honestly, kind of a brilliant thing all around. So yeah, no surprise here. Toy Story is absolutely crushing it.
I do want to say about the Toy Story IP. What makes it really great? We talked about it just now. You said about the flywheel, and I was actually listening to a podcast from a choir, and great podcast if you want to learn about the financials of Disney and the backstory of Disney. The first part is all about the backstory, and then they're gonna have a second part for the financials. So if you're not into that, you could always just listen to the first one. But the first one, they talk about how Roy and Walt, they capitalize on the flywheel, but to the point where the quality comes into the central part, which is for example, this movie. So you don't need to make so much quantity. I think that's what happened to Marvel. They made too much of it, and the quality went disperse, and it wasn't that good, and everyone too much homework. A lot of things got messy, but the good thing about it is that you can make one good movie, have it at the high standard of what's supposed to be the gold standard of Disney and Pixar, and then everything around it can be you can do crazy things with merchandising and licensing and gaming and all of that, and it doesn't dilute the brand of the IP. And that's what's great about that flywheel, is that as long as you consistently make that central part, that high quality standard. Star Wars was really good for this, and then Disney did it again, what they did with Marvel, unfortunately. But it's that, if you keep that central part, that core part of the product, which is in this case the movie, that gold standard of quality, everything around it will make a lot of money as well.
Yeah, you're right, Seymour. They got really messy during the pandemic, the Chapek era, that streaming boom. Like they wanted to churn out content like crazy, and I think they're course correcting now.
Yes,
but man, that did a lot of damage. A lot of damage, especially with the MCU. That whole thing is that cinematic universe, like you were saying, Seymour. It became homework, and then it hurts your box office because a new movie will come out, and then people are like, "Well, I'm not caught up yet. I haven't seen the last 2 Marvel shows on Disney Plus, so I can't see the movie." Now you're cutting into your box office, and so they're gonna have to recalibrate all this stuff. But it's crazy. Go ahead.
But I just wanted to showcase it. But have you noticed that like Toy Story, they didn't do that, and here we are with 750 million, and the quality's right there at the top. They didn't dilute the brand, and they're still going to make billions within the flywheel with merchandising and gaming and all that.
Yeah. Now we go from success to not so much. This is Supergirl. It crossed 100 million globally so far with a budget of 180 million. This is kind of crazy.
Wow.
I don't know what to. I mean, look, it didn't look terrible, but I haven't seen it yet. It's not getting great word of mouth. But I do also think there is a little bit of like this. I think the superhero thing, people are like about it right now, and they're kind of getting pickier with this, this kind of genre. But this movie is dying a dog's death at the box office. What do you think, Tones?
I hate to I love Millie Alcock. She was on House of the Dragon. She is Superwoman. I gotta admit, boys, this superhero fatigue is getting to me, and it's coming quick. After watching Obsession and watching what a good movie looks like at $750 million, the budget for this is 180 million, and I'm sure it looks fantastic, probably, but the storyline is what we're trying to we're at least me, I'll speak for myself. I'm having a hard time with storylines when it comes to movies. These recurring storylines that we're getting with Superman, Superwoman, Avenger, whatever the case is, it's always the same thing. We need something unique, and we need something to really catch our eye. One thing that I will say is James Gunn, I think, might have done something with Superman and Supergirl being his first two movies to come out. I think was something that he shouldn't have done. We either should have had Superman or Supergirl first, and then a Batman, and then a whatever the case is, and then a Supergirl or a Superman. I just think having them back to back was kind of like a weird mixture.
I agree.
And I think there's Clayface coming out, and then there's other things coming out, but he's making his own world. And the first two movies, Superman, I liked. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't this jaw-dropping movie, in my opinion, but it was okay. But Supergirl, and it's only the second movie of the James Gunn universe. It is James Gunn, right? I'm saying the right director.
Yeah.
In the James Gunn universe, the second movie to come out is hitting 100 million globally after 3-4 weeks now, or it's been 3 weeks. Is outrageous to hear. It's almost where you questioning what now.
I agree with you, Tone. Now we do have some corporate behind the scenes stuff happening with WB right now, with obviously Paramount coming in. That's likely going to get approved. I mean, they're going to have to make some adjustments, but it'll likely get approved, I'm sure. So we have new owners. Then we have these movies, like Supergirl Underperforming. I mean, what do you think, Tones? Do you think that James Gunn, his position there at DC is shaky ground right now?
It seems like it, bro, because I don't want to say it's on shaky ground because it's just one movie technically, but the fact that it's the second movie and the first one wasn't this like jaw-dropping, success,
right?
It goes to question, like, can he continue to make these high budget movies? Although 180 million is not too bad for a Superman, Superwoman kind of movie, it's still up there because it's a superhero movie. All superhero movies are going to be over 150 million, 200 million. But it's just the fact that you have to question, is the rest of these movies going to be good because it's the James Gunn universe? It kind of puts a damper on things, especially because you thought this was going to be a Marvel killer, as a lot of people were saying, and it's not looking like it.
It's not looking. I agree with you. And even Marvel hasn't been what it was, I mean, what do you think? And then I'm going to go to Seymour. But Tones, what do you think about Spider-Man? I mean, is that going to be an exception with this current environment? You think that one will crush?
Yeah, for sure. And I will say this: if I'm not mistaken, Seymour, correct me if I'm wrong. It is Marvel, but it's Sony as well, right? Or yeah, it's a Sony. It's a Sony Spider-Man, correct?
Correct. Yes.
That's the only thing that might put a damper on this, because we're not too. I won't say but a lot of people question Sony's superheroes, especially especially Spider-Man. If anything, that would be the only damper, but I still don't think that would matter, to be honest.
Yeah,
Even
and
though
I think people love Tom Holland too, and yeah, I think it'll do well. Go ahead, Seymour.
I was just gonna say Sony has been in hot water lately, and fans have been a little upset because I think, they're gonna remove physical media from PlayStation, and I see.
Yesterday, correct?
Pardon?
They just announced that yesterday.
Yeah, a couple of days ago, yes. And fans are upset. They're like, let's boycott. Boycotts don't work, but I see fans saying, let's boycott Sony. Let's not watch Spider-Man. Let's cancel Crunchyroll. Like, and it's like, yeah, you're not gonna do damage. It's a small audience that wants the discs. At the end of the day, majority are now doing digital anyways. So yeah, I don't think it's gonna be a big issue. I think Spider-Man will do great. Spider-Man is that one IP where Sony does well with, thankfully, except for the spinoffs.
Yeah. Now, do you guys, Seymour? I want to ask you a question because interesting perspective there with physical media. Do you think it's like the Gen Xers and the Boomers and like the older millennials kind of crying about that? Like, do you think Gen Z is like all good with the digital, or like what are your thoughts on that? Because I saw a lot of pushback on social media, but I couldn't really tell kind of where it was coming from.
How do you listen to music nowadays?
It's all digital.
Yeah. And how do you watch movies?
All digital, pretty much. Yeah.
It's gonna happen. We used to have record players, tape players, and then CD players, and then now we just stream everything. The one issue that I have though is that with gaming is that once it becomes digital, you don't own the physical copy of the game, so you are now at the Sony now technically has the rights to remove it or not, and that's where there's like a legal gray area, and people have issues with that.
Yes, because like Disney pulled some stuff with the Splash movie on Disney Plus. They covered up when the mermaid, I guess I haven't seen the movie in years, but they showed her butt in the original version, and I guess Disney like CGI'd some long hair to cover the butt on Disney Plus, so they can do like shenanigans with like the version on their streaming service. Go ahead, Tones. I apologize.
No, you don't have to apologize. I was gonna say is like Seymour has a point. It's because like, okay, for PlayStation, for instance, right? I don't have PlayStation, but if I remember correctly, you have to buy PSN Plus or whatever it is to get access to like free games that they give you, right? Now, are they going to do that with like say I buy GTA, right? Do I need to have the PlayStation Network membership to be able to play GTA? I know you most likely have to play it online, but even access the game. So it's going to be this weird thing where I may have Madden the video game, but am I allowed to access my library and play the video game offline if I don't have the PSN membership that most people pay like $50 a month or whatever? I forgot what the number is, but there's a membership you have to pay. Now, if I buy the game and I can't have access to it because I have to pay another fee, I think that's where people are going to be pissed off, and people are going to question like why. But another thing is, games might be a whole different story, but like say for instance a movie or a CD that you want to buy from a artist that you like, I think the best thing they could do is put out a limited supply of those hard copies of CDs or vinyls like they do with vinyls, to where you only get 100 where it would be a hot commodity to get said movie, said CDs, whatever the case is. Because right now it's like, okay, if you make an unlimited amount, like what's the purpose of it? Like, why do I obviously playing it? But like, if I'm a collector, why would I want something that everyone's gonna have access to?
That's a great point. And then you're right. There's also that niche market, like that niche side market. Like there's a place in Hollywood, Amoeba Records. I was in there a few months ago, man, and they sell a bunch of vinyls, and the place was packed.
Yeah, bro.
It was crazy because it's that niche market. It's like that, But yeah, we live in a crazy time. Go ahead, Seymour.
I know the reason why Sony is doing this though. And I know I don't want to go too off topic because I know you wanted my opinion on Supergirl, but Sony wants to push it because they have to give some of the profits for that to retail. If you buy it straight from Sony, Sony makes 100% of the profits. They don't give it to or the third party, right? So imagine if you're a third party, then you have to give it to Sony and then the store retail. But if you just go to Sony itself, right? If you're third party, you give 30% to Sony. Or if you're Sony making the game, then you could keep 100%. And Sony wants to.
No, good.
Oh, I'm just gonna say that Sony wants to push everyone to digital so that they can make those profits.
See, with that being said, now our game's gonna go from $70 back to $60, so they don't have to pay that extra, fee or whatever that they get, because like we pay $60. We used to pay $60 for a game, and I'm assuming, they got whatever percentage it was, the like say Target or whatever. But now since it's going to be straight to Sony, the games go fucking down. The price goes down then, right?
That's a great point. Yeah, they don't have to manufacture a physical game anymore with the pamphlet and the whole thing. Yeah, the price better go down. That's a great point.
I watched the whole documentary on that, and they talked about how the reason we didn't actually get a big price increase in gaming, as like a lot of other stuff in the industry, is because the digital copy of the games kept the physical copy, in the middle ground. Yes. So because the digital copy was cheaper to produce, they didn't have to increase the physical copy as much, and it actually underperformed with inflation. And now they're saying that no, we're going to just cut the cord and just go all full digital. And their reasoning is now is like, well, we are still underperforming inflation. There's no reason to decrease the price.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate. And I think Nintendo said that, we're going to keep a digital price cheaper than the physical copy. But what they did was they increased the physical copy. So now it's $10 more to get the physical copy. So it makes the digital copy look cheaper.
Oh my gosh. Well, I don't think Nintendo is going to do this whole digital thing, because Nintendo is always like kind of late to the game when it comes to switching that stuff. Like I remember even like the old school cartridges, it took them forever to like update that. Didn't they, Seymour? Wasn't there like a sticking point with Nintendo and PlayStation? Because remember, PlayStation was supposed to be Nintendo, and there was something there with like having it like a CD, and Nintendo didn't want that. Like, I don't think Nintendo is going to go all digital anytime soon, but I could be wrong. But what are your thoughts on that? You're obviously way more into Nintendo than I am, so you would know.
With the increase in physical, I don't think Nintendo is going to change its ways for a very long time. There's no need, because I think that's why they, especially now when memory is getting really expensive. You see stock prices from like companies like SanDisk going up high in price because of that. It is getting a little expensive. I think because of the increase that Nintendo has done for physical, I think they'll be fine. Plus, they could be that that underdog, like, oh look, we have physical, so if you want to come to us. They do have an alternative though. It's a key card, but some people are confused about it. It's basically like you have a cartridge, but it's only for a digital game. So there's no game on it. It's just a key code. So you put it into your Switch 2, and you have to download the game to play it. But then you can take it out, you can sell it, you can give it to your friend, and they can play the game though. I think that's a good alternative.
And one other thing before we hop off this topic is, because now there's going to be no physical copy and it's all going to be digital. Now that means that these Sony or PlayStations and Xboxes and whatever, the memory's going to go, or they're going to need more memory for some of these consoles now, because all these games aren't like Call of Duty is probably like a 300-400 gig fucking game now, which is insane, dude. Like if I'm sometimes it's not worth buying, but anyway, the physical copy, you didn't need that, that much space for the game, but now you're going to need fucking so much space for all the games that you want to play. So that's going to be another tough thing they're going to have to sell.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, the physical media stuff is interesting. And a lot of people push back on that, even like with AI and stuff like that. There's always this pushback when a new technology kind of comes into the fold, and it kind of introduces a lot of like change. I think people eventually will probably be okay with this once it kind of comes out and it gets normalized, right? So, but in the meantime, though, Sony is going through it. People are really upset on social media. Now, Seymour, before we dip into some Pokemon, what were your thoughts on Supergirl?
Okay, so remember how we looked at The Mandalorian and Grogu, and there were some negative responses and how their box office numbers were low. But then we talked about how, yes, but they can make a lot of their money back within merchandise and licensing, especially with the little Grogu, right?
Yeah.
I don't think you can do that with Supergirl, unfortunately. I don't think they're gonna make it. And there was some weird uh uh the popcorn bucket as well, and the drink. There was some weird ones that kind of look suspicious looking. If you Google it if you want to see what it looked like.
Sure
It
will.
was I think it was the drink or the popcorn. It was really weird. Yeah.
Is that the one? Is that the one that has like the brown cape on there or something?
Yes, that skin looking
Oh
cape.
yeah, it looks like a sack of some sort.
Yes.
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 Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
People were making fun of that. That's freaking hilarious. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
I
Seymour.
don't think this movie is gonna go. And I've heard a lot of I've seen a few reviews of people that I watch, and one said that James Gunn said that this was going to be based off the source material of Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and it wasn't. And fans were upset with that. The core DC fans that wanted it, they wanted that Supergirl. Instead, they got a different type of Supergirl. And another review said that this movie was basically copying every other superhero movie. This was like a mixture of the Marvels, the Guardians of the Galaxy, and Mad Max all in one. And it's like the team version of those. And fans are not liking that either because it wasn't going to the source material. And when you change a lot of the things, especially with the source material, fans don't like it. With anime, if you change anything within the source material, anime fans will get upset. You look at Toy Story 5, they didn't change anything significantly with the source material. If you keep it consistent, the fans will yes, that
There it is. That's rough.
if you keep it consistent, the fans will keep coming back if it's that high quality content that they perceived of what they wanted. But unfortunately, this is it. I don't think, and I think this is going to be James Gunn's downfall. Unfortunately,
And
when Paramount merges with Warner Brothers, I don't think they're gonna renew his contract. I think it's going downhill from here. Because when you hear headlines saying that this is doing worse than Joker 2, Morbius, the Marvels, and we have been hearing those movies did really bad. If this movie done worse than all of those, yeah, that's not good.
you know a movie's bad when 2 weeks after you release the movie, it's out on streaming services like fucking Joker movie was. That was when I heard that, guys, I was my jaw was on the floor. I was so confused on how they could do that. But you bring up a good point in book material. Obviously people know I cover House of the Dragon, but this show, even though it's been amazing to watch so far, some of the fan base is gone because Ryan Condal veered away from the source material, and it wasn't. I mean, I have my opinion on that. We can talk about it a different day, but people think that word for word, bar for bar type of adaptation is what they're going to get on screen when it's impossible to do. But when it comes to comic books, it's a little bit different, in my opinion, just because there's not comic books that are like 300-400 pages long. Obviously a story could be multiple volumes, right? But they can make it to where it can condense it down a little bit, because and not saying it's a lot easier than like a book source material, but there is a big difference between a book and a comic book that it should be pretty simple to find a storyline that could be that will stick to the source material and make it a good movie. And I mean, Duck Seymour is pretty much telling us that it looks like they didn't do that with this one, so that's pretty unfortunate.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think we are definitely seeing a seismic shift with superhero movies right now, and with DC, Marvel, all that stuff. It's a different time, In that lead up to 2019, it was all about the superhero movies. Not so much anymore. Like horror movies now are kind of making making it. I mean, that's what's really big, you know, and that's I think that we're seeing a new sort of trend going forward. But we'll see. We'll see how Spider-Man does. I think you guys are right about that one. That one will probably do really well. But that's kind of the exception right now, not the rule. So we'll see. But Mr. Duck, I wanted to bring this up, or actually, you wanted to bring this up, and I'll let you kind of set the table. What is going on? It says the Pokemon franchise will air on Disney Channel and Disney XD on August 6th. I guess Disney reacquired the rights to this franchise for for broadcast or streaming. What are your thoughts on this?
This is
I didn't
huge.
even know that. Holy,
This is yeah.
that
This is like big news. This is like, imagine another company coming in and be like, we're taking Bluey away from Disney Plus. That's how big this news is. It's like the Pokemon is the biggest media franchise in the world. And that's going to create a lot of engagement for new Disney Plus subscribers, and that's what I find it fascinating. You know, and
Wow.
especially the Pokemon franchise, it's very scattered right now. It's always on like multiple streaming services. You can't get all the seasons of like one. Like you can only get like 2 or 3 seasons from Pokemon here and then over there. Especially Netflix, it was very scattered, and I was actually surprised that Disney reacquired this licensing from the Pokemon company instead of Netflix, because Netflix, you know, that would have been a huge hit for them. But no, Disney's taking it. You know, they're going to go on, and it's not just on Disney Plus, but it's also going to be on linear services. They're going to make a lot of money with ads. All the kids are watching it. Yeah, it's going to be a huge hit for fans, because I think all at one place we can watch it, and then it's going to be a huge hit financially for Disney. And I think going forward, they could create a better relationship with the Pokemon company and ensure that maybe, you know, they'll extend this, because you're probably going to see on the Nielsen charts Pokemon now, because in the engagement on Disney Plus going higher and higher.
Well, between this and Bluey, I mean, who's ever running the Disney acquisition, yeah, they're killing it, man. They are crushing it. What are your thoughts on this, Tones?
I mean, we're forgetting one of like a huge part about this is they can now do whatever they want. I mean, obviously not whatever they want, but they could also go into stuff with Epic Games and put this in Fortnite and have some kind of Fortnite. You know, actually, I don't know. Can they do that? Now that I think about it.
Well, that's interesting. I don't know the terms of the deal, but it's possible. I mean, theme parks, no, because I think Universal has that locked in. But gaming, I mean, what say you, Seymour, on that? Because that's not too far removed from this kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was exactly.
If Nintendo didn't own like 33%, I think that would have happened. But Nintendo owns 33%, and it's very weird because Nintendo owns 33% of the Pokemon company, but then they own a percentage of the other company that owns like 33% of the Pokemon company Creature, and then you have Game Freak that owns the rest of it. So it's like Nintendo is a majority shareholder for the Pokemon company. Okay. They're not going to let that happen. They're not going to take you away from the Nintendo platform, unfortunately. Yeah. If it wasn't for that ownership, and I think it's also why we haven't seen Pokemon outside of Japan, because Nintendo owns the IP outside of Japan. In Japan, the Pokemon company owns a trademark for it. Unfortunately, outside, it's Nintendo. So you have to actually go through Nintendo. So this is actually part of it. Might have been working with Nintendo as well to make sure to get this deal across. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll see Epic on there, Fortnite. Unfortunately, and I know they've been trying so hard to get any Nintendo IP, especially Samus from Metro Prime, but they Nintendo doesn't want to budge. Like, no, we don't need a third party. We'll have our own platform. We have our own thing.
Yeah, aside from the Epic thing, I think streaming anything with Pokemon is fantastic for Disney and the Disney Channel. Honestly, like Pokemon is kind of like the Toy Story thing what we were talking about. It's never going to die. Nothing about Pokemon is ever going to die, especially the TV shows. The TV shows are always going to be something that the kids run to. I mean, you see nowadays that kids love opening Pokemon cards. It's like Pokemon cards is never going to die, which means the TV shows and the action figures and everything that comes along with Pokemon is never going to die. So the fact that Disney Channel is going to have one of the best streaming animes ever on their platform I mean, it's a W for sure. You're muted, OG.
Sorry about that. Yeah, no, this is huge news.
Yeah.
Absolutely huge news. It is a huge I don't know about acquisition, but like rights deal. And like I said before, I mean, they already have Bluey, and now they're adding this to the roster. It's insane. Go ahead, Seymour.
Oh, I was just going to say the comment that I see here. So Disney owns the television rights and Universal owns the theme park rights. Fascinating.
Yeah. No, that is fascinating. Well, and we're seeing a lot of that, right, with Disney and Universal, because when Disney bought Fox, Universal already has all those Simpsons lands in their theme parks. So now that's a Disney property, but they're in the Universal parks, and so there's a lot of that kind of that overlap. It's kind of weird.
Now, could you gentlemen educate me on certain rights Disney has that they only can do with, like, for instance, right now we know that Pokemon can only be streamed on the Disney Channel, but you know, as far as the parks, they're not allowed to do anything. As far as video games, they're not allowed to do anything. Is there other franchises that Disney has that they only have rights to, like streaming, or only rights to park stuff? Or is there? I honestly don't know now that I'm thinking about it.
Bluey would be technically one as well.
Bluey?
They don't actually. They didn't create Bluey. They own the streaming rights for that.
Is there anything else like besides the ones they just acquired?
Yeah, they're actually Marvel, believe it or not. When it comes to theme parks, at least out here in California, we have free reign to use Marvel in our park. So you see California Avenger, we have an whole area for the Avengers, right?
Yeah.
Disney in Florida can't do that. Marvel actually made a like a ironclad contract in perpetuity, like forever, until they want to back out of it, for the Marvel characters east of the Mississippi. And so they have an entire land at Islands of Adventure at Universal Orlando themed to Marvel. And Disney can't, Disney's really, their hands are really, really tied as to what they can do with Marvel over there in Florida. There are some characters, yeah, there are some characters they can utilize, but if any character that makes an appearance in that Universal property, Disney cannot use them in their parks in Florida. Isn't that crazy?
That's wild.
And I think same thing goes with Spider-Man and Sony. They actually have to work with Sony if they want to use any of the rights within the Spider-Man universe. And that's why, you know, some people are confused. How come we're not seeing Spider-Man and Daredevil? You know, it's New York. We should be seeing them. They worked in the comics. It's because they have to work with Sony, and Sony is like, oh, we don't want that.
Yeah. It's crazy. We'll see. I mean, now, Seymour, you wanted to touch upon the flywheel with this, right?
Yeah, I don't know if I sent you a link to the Wikipedia page, but I wanted to showcase that, you know, we've been discussing about how, like, a lot of these movies, right? They don't need to make $1 billion, and we or a lot of these IPs and these franchises, especially like we just talked about Pokemon, right? When we look at Pokemon here, you know, home video only made 40 million since its inception. Box office only made 1.16 billion. Well, look how much they made in retail sales, which is like all merchandise. 103.6 billion.
Dude, that is crazy. That is absolutely crazy.
So, like, and it brings me back to the point where it's like, you know, even Tone said it, like the Pokemon TV show, the anime is top tier. That quality that you know, I've watched it since I was a kid. It doesn't bring in the money, but it brings in that everyone coming in to see that IP, and then you can now, you know, splurge with that IP in all different areas within the flywheel to generate the revenue. Pokemon did really well. You can even see Mickey Mouse and Friends here, where, like, you look at their box office, they haven't even hit $1 billion. And even if you mix it in with VHS and DVD, but in retail, again, 60 billion.
You know, that's crazy. And yeah, this is huge with the flywheel. And Disney is really, well, Nintendo too, but like Disney though is really, really good at taking like old IP and keeping them relevant forever. Like Mickey Mouse. I mean, this is a character that premiered in 1928. We are like, what, like a year and a half away from 100 years of this character, and it's it's just as relevant today as it ever has been. That is insane to me. And Winnie the Pooh is crushing it too. 50 billion? Winnie the Pooh? That is wild.
Is this where it says retail sales? Is that of all time, or is there a limit, or is there like
of all time? It is out. It's not the most up to date, but that is the latest stat. But yeah, it's of all time since inception.
I feel like that is low for Pokemon, though. Am I tripping?
What do you think, Seymour? Is that low for them?
Retail 103
We look.
million? Whoa.
You got to remember that Pokemon in Japan, the yen is very low. The exchange rate compared to the US is very low. So we have to look at this as, and it's much, much bigger in Japan than it is in the Western countries. And unfortunately, like even now, when we look at Nintendo as a company, their market cap is extremely low as well. It's unfortunate. Right now, I think Nintendo is only worth $51 billion. I think we have this high expectation. All these companies are worth like 500 billion. They made a lot. But they have made a lot in regards to comparative to their box office or their home like video. Retail has been a bigger part of that pie.
Yeah, and it is crazy how, I mean, kind of scrolling down this list, I mean, Disney has, I mean, okay, we got Mickey, Mickey and Friends, right? So Mickey, Donald, Goofy, right? We got Winnie the Pooh, that's another Disney one. We got Star Wars, that's another Disney one. We got the Disney Princesses, that's obviously another Disney one. MCU, that's another Disney one. I mean, Spider-Man, that's another Disney one. I mean, Cars, I mean, it's crazy to me how many on this list are from Disney. I mean, this kind of points to that flywheel, right, Seymour? I mean, they are just the IP machine over here.
Yeah, and I remember years ago that this Wikipedia page, Hello Kitty was #1 at one point because their merchandise was just so cheap to make. Everything about Hello Kitty is like, there's no voice actor behind it. There's nobody there behind it. They own the IP. Let's license and put it on everywhere. That's what Mickey Mouse did really well, right? You just put it on everywhere, especially with animation, because there's no real face behind it, except for Walt. He wanted to plaster Walt Disney everywhere because he wanted everyone to know that Disney made it and not anyone else. Because back in the day, Universal stole Oswald the Rabbit, and unfortunately, he didn't put his name on there, and people didn't know back in the day. This before the internet, before everything, right? So then he didn't want to make that same mistake with Mickey Mouse. So every time it was released in the movie theater, I think it was like the first time it was released was like alongside a real movie. So it was like a beginning, and he plastered the Disney name everywhere to ensure that. But then Bob Iger got the Oswald the Rabbit back, so that's good news.
He did get it back. Did you hear, Tones, have you heard about that story with Oswald?
I have not, no.
Okay, so Oswald was actually before Mickey. And Oswald, I'll pull him up so you can kind of see what he looks like.
I was like, who is Oswald?
Yeah, I'll pull him up so you can kind of see him. This is Oswald. And he was pre-Mickey.
Okay.
Yeah, and he even kind of looks like Mickey, to be honest. But Walt Disney was a young dude at the time, and this was his character. Well, Universal, it was like this kind of like, Walt didn't read the fine print kind of situation. Oh. And so he was negotiating something, and then Universal was like, no, bro, we own this character. Sorry, buddy. If you don't like it, you can walk. So he walked, and on the train ride home, he drew on a napkin Mickey Mouse to create a new character, and that's how Mickey Mouse came to be. So it was kind of interesting how because of this negative thing that happened, like losing the rights to Oswald, it made an even crazier success story with Mickey, And that's why in life, like that, people get so worked up over like negative things happening. Like, oh man, I lost my job, or I didn't get that job, or that relationship didn't work out. It's like, these are all opportunities, y'all. Like sometimes like something has to like go away for you to like do better, And this is a perfect example of that, man. I mean, Oswald is a great character, but Mickey, I mean, crazy stuff. So anyway,
you ever see the like people making like scary movies out of like Pinocchio and
Oh yes.
and I feel like this would be the scary movie of Mickey Mouse, and this is what he would look like.
Yeah.
But Oswald would look like the scary version of Mickey Mouse. I honestly don't like I don't like Oswald the way he looks. I really don't.
Is
Yeah.
is he kind of like too old school looking?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's just like a fake Mickey Mouse, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
and that's the thing too, because it was like an old school character, and Universal had the rights to that, rights to him. They didn't really do anything with him, so he ended up like Felix the Cat, where he would like never evolve. Like he looks like he does like 1920s, right?
I think he was actually even inspired by Felix the Cat.
That's crazy.
bro. And you got to give it to him. They did what they had to do to make sure Walt didn't fucking make something into Oswald. But at the end of the day, he said, "Fuck you guys, I'm doing something a little better." So I guess
Yeah. Oh no,
They
Walt was crazy, man. Walt was crazy. Walt was a mover and a shaker, dude. That guy was doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Go ahead, Seymour.
They are bringing him back though. The IP for Disney Plus. They're doing a live action hybrid for it, so that should be interesting. I think it's to celebrate the 100th anniversary.
Yeah, it's also that's actually Jon Favreau is actually the showrunner on that, which is kind of crazy, right? Jon Favreau doing an Oswald show? Okay. Let him cook. Yeah, me too.
So I'm guessing it's going to be a similar style to Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. I don't know, dude. That'd be kind of cool. Well, remember the show back in the day, Animaniacs, the Warner Brothers cartoon?
Yeah.
Remember that? And they were trapped in the water tower and they came out all those years later. You can kind of do a similar storyline with Oswald. Like he was like, you know, stuck somewhere and here he comes back. He still looks like the old school kind of designs. And you can almost kind of do an Animaniacs vibe with Oswald.
Comes out with a fucking cigar and
I love it. I love it. I love it. Tones Poppy, Mr. Seymour Duck. It is always an honor talking shop with you, gentlemen. Tones, I will start with you, sir. Where can everybody find you on social media?
Thank you again for letting me join, boys. I appreciate the conversation. Seymour, always good talking and seeing you, brother. Yeah, like I said, we've been doing a lot of House of the Dragon stuff. But we do other TV shows and movies. So if you want to check out my content, go to Tones_TV on all platforms. And you know, we have a lot of fun there. We go live every single day talking movie shows and TV, and we also talk about just random stuff in general. So if you want to have a good time, go to Tones_TV. Go
support Tones. And Mr. Seymour Duck, where can everybody find you on the social medias?
Yeah, I just want to say I had a good time with you guys. Thank you for coming on, Tones. Yeah, I always love to hear your perspective on the media side. But yes, you can find me on X at Mr. Seymour Duck and also here at the Duck Pond on Orange Go 55.
There he is. Everybody comment down below. We tapped into the thing I love about doing these is that we get into these side quests. You know, I didn't think we were going to talk physical media today. We did. I didn't think we were going to talk about, you know, the Supergirl sack sipper. We did. So there's a lot of cool things that come out of this stuff. But everybody at home, comment down below with all your thoughts on everything we discussed today. We would love to hear from you. And until the next time.
Before we go.
Oh, go ahead.
I want you guys to leave in the comment. We're leaving you off with the question, chat.
There we go.
Before we leave, you guys have to come up with a concept to a land, or not even land. Let's do a ride. We'll do a ride. Put in the comments what ride you would want in any what's it called? Theme park. Any ride you guys would put in any theme park. Let us know in the comments. I want to see what you guys come up with.
There we go. You heard them in the chat down below. Thank you everybody for watching this episode of OG.
Thank you so much for watching OG55. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and become a member today. Mwah!